I put it to you that concerning this Gachagua manenos, most of us have completely missed it. You see, in this life, we have choices, and all our choices without exception have consequences. That also means that the choices of other people, whether they are clowns or whether they are serious people, also have consequences. And for the record, I don't like Gachagua. I am not a supporter of Gachagua. I will never be a supporter of Rigathi Gachagua. Let's get that clear. However, that should not stop me from looking at the very serious political ramifications, of what is going down this week. Because, wait for this one, if the Gachagua impeachment goes into full hearing, then Ruto is finished. And of course I get it. Most people still view Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua as a clown. I get that. Most people are very sure that Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is a political dwarf. I get all that. But still, I insist, if the Gachagua impeachment hearing goes full trial, then it will be adios, Samoei Ruto. Stay with me, and I will prove it to you beyond any doubt. Now, I also need to add that that statement is still true whether or not Rigathi Gachagua is successfully impeached. It doesn't matter. But a full hearing of this impeachment, not in the interest of William Ruto. Definitely not. And we will come to the why of that very shortly. Kenya's history, Kenya's political history, is full of cases of where the president decided to get rid of somebody powerful. Usually the vice president or the deputy president, and sometimes somebody else who is in government but is also very powerful. In my thorough research for this video, I was very enlightened when I went back into history, to the time when a commission of inquiry was set up to deal with somebody who was very powerful in Kenyan politics at that time, a man called Charles Mughane Njonjo. And this was especially illuminating and very instructive concerning what we're facing this week, because Bwana Njonjo hailed from Mount Kenya, and the president at that time of Kenya, who was dealing with him, hailed from the valley or Bonde la Ufa. Now that is precisely exactly the same situation we have in Kenya today. Now, I have often said on this channel, that when you allow your emotions to override everything else, when you allow your emotions to take charge, it becomes impossible to be accurate in any analysis. Indeed, emotions cloud your judgment terribly. And of course, it is no secret, there are a lot of emotions flying around in Kenya right now. And this is why most of us are missing what is about to unfold in our country. High wire drama, something game changing in our politics. We're missing all of it because emotions have taken over and we have stopped thinking. And I don't blame anybody. It was exactly the same in the Moi days. But the truth is, Kenya's second president, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, was a very smart guy. In my opinion, he was a genius politician. Now don't let emotions come in, because that does not change who Moi was. Moi damaged the country called Kenya. It did a lot of irreversible damage. or damage that will take years and decades to cure. Indeed, a lot of the problems we're facing today in our politics were birthed by Moi. That is also true. But it is also true that Moi was very smart. A politician like no other we have had in Kenya to date. Let's leave the emotions out. Weka emotions kando. Now, a quick summary of what the issues were with Moi wanting to remove Njonjo. For starters, nobody else had played a bigger role in ensuring that Moi would become president after Jomo Kenyatta suddenly passed on in August 1978. Nobody else. Because it was Njonjo, who was AG then, who sent a chopper to pick up Moi from his farm after Jomo Kenyatta passed on. And this is important. I believe the reason why he did that is that he was aware of the dangers that lurked on the roads. Waiting for Moi, people had been instructed to make sure he never gets to State House. Okay, but that's a story for another day. It was also Njonjo who dealt with Moi's fear of the presidency. He is the one who was there to encourage him. He was the one who was there to tell him, Mr. President, you can do it. The presidency has enough powers to protect you. Because it is widely known that Moi did not accept the presidency just like that. He was not comfortable. Hawa Wakikuyu watanimaliza. That is the famous quote from Moi, rejecting the presidency, believe it or not. But it was Charles Mugane Njonjo who was there for him and also helped him to establish himself in power. Just to give you one quick example, to help boost the confidence of Moi, Njonjo is the one who organized for Kenya Air Force fighter jets to escort Moi's aircraft, every time he jetted back into the country. As soon as the aircraft entered Kenyan airspace, boom, there would immediately be Kenya Air Force aircrafts, fighter jets, 2 or 3, escorting it until shortly before it landed. Of course, this was a very expensive exercise and sometimes dangerous. In fact, on one occasion, one of them actually crashed. Okay? But it was important to help Moi get his confidence. And then finally Moi got his confidence and started ruling Kenya. And naturally, Njonjo was very close to Moi. So where did this inquiry business come from? Where did this decision to get rid of Njonjo come from? You know, politics is super fascinating. Because I believe what happened to Moi is the same thing that happened to the late president of Tanzania, John Pombe Magufuli. As Moi settled into power, he got these other advisors, people who came to him and spoke to him in mother tongue, and they convinced him that he was not all powerful and he would never be all powerful until some other very powerful people around him were neutralized. People who, even if they were loyal at the moment, made him vulnerable. One day they could turn and he'd be gone, he'd be removed. In the case of President Magufuli, he did not deal with an individual. He dealt with an organization, Usalama wa Taifa, the country's intelligence. He purged it. And that action cost him his life. But anyway, let's stay on point. And so, Njonjo had to go. You know, one of the biggest pieces of evidence that the 1982 coup was stage managed, as terrible as it was, is that during the trial of the 2 Kenyans accused of leading and executing the coup attempt, they made a spirited attempt to drag in the name of Njonjo. They implied that it is Njonjo who had given the order. Anyway, I think I need to stop there. That is enough background. Let us stay on point. There is a very big difference with the way Moi handled removing powerful people or removing people from government and the way Ruto deals with the same. Very huge difference. If we were to describe it in the form of animals, Moi's approach was that of a fox. The approach of the Ruto regime, a rhino, charging forward. Mtadu, that is the truth. No offense intended. It just describes very perfectly the way things are done these days. The way Moi, the professor of politics, would do it is that he would use the enemies of that particular target he had in mind to do the job. And then he would stay as far away as possible from the mad fight and pretend that it didn't matter to him either way, the way things went. And in the case of Njonjo, he had no problem finding Njonjo's bitterest enemies to deal with him, because Njonjo had many enemies. He was a very proud man. For example, there was no laundry service good enough in Kenya or in the entire continent of Africa to dry clean his suits. And so he would send them to Savile Row in the United Kingdom. Yeah. His suits were flown there for laundry and flown back to Kenya. His nickname was the Duke of Kabeteshire. Kabeteshire from two words, Kabete, and the Shire from maybe Yorkshire or something like that. The guy was a serious snob, and of course snobs get enemies quickly. Fast forward to the present. One of the biggest obstacles Ruto has in dealing with Gachagua is that he has no experienced politicians within the Mount Kenya region, because in case you have not noticed, it has to be from his region for the political optics. Okay? And one of the reasons why Ruto does not have them is that he got rid of them. Oh yes, he rigged them out massively starting in 2017, and what he has now are just flower girls and yes men. The truth is, even people like Kimani Ichung'wah are political novices. They came in just the other day. They are not battle hardened, and in this kind of situations it is very important to have battle hardened politicians with experience. And if you want to be sure that actually it is true Ruto is having problems in this department, then sample the following. He got the Speaker of the National Assembly, Bwana Moses Wetangula, to come out and support the impeachment of Gachagua. Now hold on a minute. Speakers are supposed to be impartial. Yes, they're supposed to be very impartial. But here we are, with a speaker who comes out and says, I support the impeachment of anybody who disturbs our peace. What? There you have it. The planning of Moi was intricate. This man who never saw the inside of a high school was very smart. His moves would start with a very small, insignificant statement by a certain politician. And then there would be a gap of a few days. And then a few more politicians would talk. And then it would build up momentum slowly. And then boom! Something major would happen. The whole thing was planned so carefully, as opposed to the current plan to impeach Gachagua that has been very haphazard at best. And of course one can say it doesn't matter as long as it works. However, the big, huge problem when you don't plan your things carefully is that it becomes highly likely that you'll end up in the situation that the Ruto presidency finds itself in today. Because if the Gachagua impeachment goes into full hearing, these are some of the consequences. To start with, the Gachagua camp has already shown us that the strategy, very predictable, is that they're going to spill the beans, expose the Ruto presidency. Yeah, they're going to make a kind of kamikaze move. Nianguke na wewe, na kama si sote tutaisha, ni sawa, as long as uanguke. That is the deadly Gachagua strategy. Moments, just a handful of hours, after I first revealed in a video on this channel that that is exactly what Gachagua was going to do, Gachagua came out with an explosive statement accusing the Ruto regime very early in the presidency of withdrawing 2 billion US dollars, not Kenya shillings, 2 billion US dollars from the Central Bank of Kenya and transferring it to a private bank. And he promised to give us more details, including the names of those involved. Now, what I'm saying is that a lot of these revelations and exposure will be very serious incitement to the long-suffering people of Kenya. And things being as delicate as they are in Kenya today, you don't want to incite Kenyans right now. Kenyans are going through so much hardship. You don't want to incite them under any circumstances. Secondly, these exposures will also greatly damage the government. The government is already damaged, but this exposure of Rigathi Gachagua camp will finish the Ruto government. Okay? And then there's another even bigger problem. You see, in some of these moves that have been made, even moves to make Ruto president, there are some powerful forces involved who are not Kenyan. Okay? And these powerful forces naturally are going to get increasingly nervous as Gachagua makes these revelations. And one of the few plays that will be left for them will be to quickly support Gachagua, speed up the exit of Ruto, yeah, so as to cut short the exposure from the Gachagua camp. Oh yes. And guess what? Already we are seeing evidence of exactly that. Because I have said in a previous video that it seems that Gachagua may have backing from people who are not Kenyans. Allow me to leave it there. I believe it is now much clearer to everybody why the statement, the allegation by some, that the impeachment of Gachagua could very easily turn into the impeachment of Ruto. You now understand and you now see how that can happen. And I'm sure you also appreciate how quickly it can happen. Yeah, before people know what is happening, it has happened. That is really what it is. You know, I find it more than super fascinating that one of the very first things Gachagua talks about in exposing Ruto is money. Yeah, and he finishes that statement by saying, what I'm going to expose is going to fully explain to Kenyans why we're in the mess, financial mess of course he meant, why we are in the mess that we are in today. I find that very fascinating, and I don't think it is accidental or even a coincidence. It isn't. And that is one of the reasons why I am sure you'll find my latest special report super fascinating. Because one of the key things that report covers is the real people behind Adani, or shall I say, the real money behind Adani. Because it is linked to what Gachagua has promised us he will expose. It is very, very closely linked. Okay? And of course the special report reveals how Ruto and his regime operates. Very fascinating stuff. Now this offer is coming to a close anytime, so you'd better rush. You can see details on your screens right now. For only Kenya shillings 19.99, you'll get it pop in your inbox. And not only that, you'll also get all other previous, highly sensitive special reports I have done. If you're interested, and if you're able, please move quickly. Okay? This offer is very, very close to coming to an end. Apart from the deals you can see on your screen right now, the same payment details for you to get this special report are also in the description area below this video on YouTube, and also in the comments area. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.